Hey everyone, I'm Cody Martin with Martin Computer Graphics. This week's video is going to be a visual effects behind the scenes breakdown of last week's CarSurf video. What I want to do is just take a little bit of time to show you exactly what entailed in compositing the shot together, because as I've noticed, a lot of people didn't know since I posted it and got some feedback from it. Most people didn't realize that it actually was a visual effects composite, which is a good thing for me. It means I did a good job compositing it. That made it look realistic. But I wanted to just show you exactly what all went into it, the different steps, the different processes, just to give you an idea of what exactly it is that I do. So hopefully you enjoy this. I'm going to switch over to the computer view now and take a look at how it's done. Alright.
Okay, so the first thing I want to show you guys is the base plate footage, which is the original unedited, undoctored video footage that I have straight from the camera, nothing done to it. Okay, first we have the background right here. Now this is the main shot that I use. And it's the shot that you see, obviously. I'll let this play through. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just scroll through. But as you can see, there is nobody. Right here is when I start coming out of the car to surf it. But as you can see, there's no one coming out of the car at all. There's also green trackers there and there. And this is just your basic footage. And that's what I started off with. I recorded that with a GoPro mounted on another car, and we just drove next to each other with the cruise control on and tried to keep it as stable as possible. Okay. Now the footage that I mixed that with is right here. Now, this is our foreground shot. Now, this was shot in front of my house. Just stationary. We tried to match the angle and the height as best we could. And you have me coming out of the car, a stationary car, and then surfing it. Now, unfortunately, there was wind that day, so we couldn't set up the green screen. We did have a green screen set up right back here, and it turned into a big sail, so that wasn't good. So we had to just record it without the green screen, which unfortunately took a lot more time in post-production because it forced us to rotoscope instead of key. But on the plus side of that, since the GoPro was a little lower quality and not quite professional quality, and it wasn't overcast that day, there was a lot of noise, it did give us a much cleaner alpha channel, which is what you want. Okay. Now, what we did to extract the actor from that foreground footage was a program called Nuke. And as you can see my different nodes here, Nuke is a node-based compositor. And by nodes, I mean these things right here. And all I used was a roto. The pre-mult was just that's really all. The pre-mult and shuffle are just telling what I should write, which is what should be recorded and exported out into a file, into the alpha channel. And by alpha channel, alright, well, this is your base footage right here. I'll show you what the alpha channel is in a second. Now what I did was added roto shapes to this, which as you can see right here, I have it all labeled. I had a roto shape for each major part of the body and some other coverage things. Now, what a roto shape is, it's you use a Bezier curve, which is this right here, and you actually draw out the part that you want to be seen in the shot. So, for example, the hip right here. See, it's 4 points, and I just, you curve the points right here and move it around, and then just add it, make sure you're outlining the shape that you want. It's good to do it in pieces because it's much easier to track simple shapes than it is to say if I just outlined the whole body, it would look really choppy and it'd be a lot more difficult to track. So as much as this looks a lot more complicated than it has to be, it's actually the easiest way to do it. Now what you get from that is an alpha channel. Now if I press A, oh, hold on, there, okay, I had to upload the roto into the viewer. Now if I press A, this is an alpha channel. All the stuff that's white, that's your 1 category, and that means that basically, computer language is in zeros and ones. Well, when it comes to alpha channel, a 0 is this black part here, and that's what gets dropped. That's what you don't see anymore. And the 1 is, in this case, the RGB section, which is your color section. Now, if you pre-multiply this, you can see what exactly that does, which I'll get rid of. I'll get rid of these here. And what I did was I traced it for each. You had to go in each frame and draw in those roto shapes. Which, if you look here, you can see the roto shapes changing and moving and morphing with the actor. And it gives you that nice clean edge, which I like. It's rotoscoping is definitely a lot more recommended for lower grade cameras, because if you try and key out with a green screen and you have a low grade camera, which is going to have a lot of noise, which is that real fuzzy looking stuff, it's going to give you those dancing edges, which will make it really obvious that it was composited. And basically, the finished product for that is this right here. See, nice and clean. Yeah, I'm up on there. Everything's good to go. And all this black stuff here, that I can key out in the next program I'll show you. Okay. So the next thing we used was Adobe After Effects. So after rotoing that out, rendering it, and getting just the alpha channels and the RGB channel, what I did was I brought in the base footage here. Right here I have the base footage. Now what I had to do with that was create a null object, which right here it says tracking object, and that's just it's basically an empty layer. It doesn't show up in the video at all, but it's just gives it something to attach. And what I mean by attach is all the tracking data. If you put it in on the footage itself, like if I would put it on this, it would just dance all over the place and it wouldn't look right. So I have to add the tracking data into the null object, and then I parent the footage that I want to follow that into the tracking object. Now, what I mean by tracking data and parent, basically, as you can see in this footage, the camera shakes a lot. The car is moving, it's getting farther and closer. Things change, and in order to incorporate the actor into this, the actor has to react the same way that base footage is. So by tracking it, it allows us to replicate that same movement, the same size changes and everything, which makes it look more realistic. As you can see, the car gets a little farther away, the car gets a little closer, but the actor moves with it. And also, as the camera shakes, since it's paired into the null object, that alpha channel, the actor that's rotoed out, is also going to shake with it, so it appears to be moving at the same rate. As you can see, it's pretty. Your eyes can't tell the difference there. You also notice that right here, the tracking points are gone. Now all I did with that was I created a mask from a still shot of the car, and just moved it over top of the background footage, and then just parented that to the null object, which in turn allowed, it tracked it along and makes it look like there's nothing there, which also adds to the realisticness of it. I didn't have to for this one too much, but you can go into go into our effects and presets. You can change the hue and saturation as well as the levels. Now all I do is drag that onto here. And now what that does is just helps blend it in a little better. Like if I take the saturation down like that, it gives you that more pale look. Now, although that right there may look a lot better, because I did mess with the hue and saturation before, that looks good there, but the problem is it changes right here, and that's due to the lighting of the shot we originally did, the foreground shot, the stationary shot. So I didn't use the hue and saturation level, but anyways, another good tool to use is your levels, which is the best way. I personally think it's the best way to adjust two separate pieces of footage, to have them go together real nice. So like right there, you can add just the darks. You can make them darker without affecting the whites, and also you can help lower the whites a little bit, which actually we'd want to raise the darks a little bit before we do that. There we go. And then you mess with those levels and it balances out a little bit. So you get the idea, but you want to mess with those levels and that'll get you what you want. Okay, and finally, since obviously I wouldn't want to use the GoPro sound because it would just be wind rushing by, I actually went on a shareware sound effects website and found Traffic Cars Freeway, which by the way I'm using Final Cut Pro here for editing. And I added in, this is my own music here, and added some effects to it, some different distortion so it sounds like it's coming from the radio. And then I even, right here, I added a little yell that sounds distant so you could kind of feel like it was actually happening, like it was real footage.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that part of the video, and I hope it cleared up any questions that you may have had. If you do have any more questions, or comments, or even suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them below. If you don't want to comment them, you can send them in a message, an email. You can leave it on my Facebook page, whatever you want to do. Which, if you haven't checked out my Facebook page yet, it's obviously www.facebook.com/martincomputergraphics.com. That way you can stay more up to date on exactly what we're doing and any projects we may be working on. Or if you just want to refer the website to someone else, that's fine too. But I am going to try and release one video every week. I'm going to make sure those get out on Fridays. So if you like what you've seen so far and you're interested in seeing what else we come up with, feel free to hit subscribe and you'll be updated on our latest videos. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and that's all for this week. Take care.